The Minor Arcana explained: Cups, Wands, Swords, and Pentacles. Introduction: the cards that reflect everyday life. When most people first discover tarot, their attention is drawn to the dramatic images of the Major Arcana. The Fool standing at the edge of a cliff. Death riding across the landscape. The Tower struck by lightning. The Star shining brightly in the night sky. These 22 cards are famous because they represent life's great turning points and universal human experiences. Yet, during an actual tarot reading, another group of cards often appears far more frequently. These are the 56 cards known as the Minor Arcana. If the Major Arcana tells the story of life's biggest chapters, the Minor Arcana describes the pages in between. These cards explore the experiences that shape our daily lives. Relationships. Work. Family. Communication. Finances. Dreams. Challenges. Decisions. Successes. And the countless small moments that gradually become our life story. The Minor Arcana is divided into 4 distinct suits: Cups, Wands, Swords, and Pentacles. Each suit represents a different aspect of the human experience and is connected to one of the 4 classical elements: water, fire, air, and earth. Together, they create a symbolic language that has guided tarot readers for centuries. Learning the Minor Arcana can seem intimidating at first. There are 56 cards instead of 22. 4 suits instead of 1. Court cards. Numbered cards. Repeating themes. But once you understand the underlying patterns, the deck becomes surprisingly logical. The numbered cards tell a repeating story of beginnings, growth, challenge, achievement, and completion. The suits give those stories different areas of focus. And the court cards bring personality, character, and human behavior into every reading. In this audiobook, we'll explore each of the 4 suits in detail, uncover the symbolism behind every number, understand the meaning of the court cards, and learn how these seemingly ordinary cards work together to create extraordinary insight. Whether you use tarot for spiritual guidance, personal reflection, creative inspiration, or simply appreciate its rich symbolism, mastering the Minor Arcana is one of the most important steps in becoming a confident reader. Because while the Major Arcana may describe the milestones of life, it is the Minor Arcana that reveals how we live those moments every single day. Part 1: Understanding the Minor Arcana. When beginners first open a tarot deck, they often assume the Major Arcana contains the most important cards. After all, these are the cards with dramatic names like the Magician, the Lovers, the Tower, and the World. Because they are so visually striking, they naturally capture our attention. But experienced tarot readers know something that surprises many newcomers. In most readings, the Minor Arcana appears much more often than the Major Arcana. Why? Because while life's major turning points are relatively rare, everyday experiences happen constantly. We communicate. We work. We solve problems. We build relationships. We make decisions. We celebrate successes. We face disappointments. The Minor Arcana reflects these daily experiences. Think of it this way. If your life were a movie, the Major Arcana would represent the major plot twists. The Minor Arcana would be the scenes in between, the conversations, the choices, the challenges, and the moments that gradually shape the overall story. Understanding the Minor Arcana begins with recognizing its structure. The 56 cards are divided into 4 suits. Each suit contains 14 cards. The first 10 are numbered from Ace through 10. The remaining 4 are the court cards: Page, Knight, Queen, King. Although each suit focuses on a different aspect of life, the numbered cards follow remarkably similar patterns. The Ace always represents beginnings or potential. The 2 introduces balance, partnership, or decisions. The 3 represents growth and expansion. The 4 seeks stability. The 5 introduces challenge or disruption. The 6 restores harmony or progress. The 7 encourages evaluation and perseverance. The 8 reflects movement, learning, or mastery. The 9 represents maturity and nearing completion. The 10 concludes one cycle while preparing for another. Once you recognize this repeating pattern, learning the deck becomes far less overwhelming. Instead of memorizing 56 unrelated cards, you begin to see 4 versions of the same life cycle expressed through different areas of experience. The suits themselves provide that context. The Suit of Cups explores emotions, relationships, intuition, and the heart. The Suit of Wands focuses on ambition, creativity, inspiration, and action. The Suit of Swords examines thought, communication, truth, and conflict. The Suit of Pentacles concerns the physical world, work, finances, health, home, and material security. Each suit is traditionally associated with one of the 4 classical elements. Water flows like emotions. Fire burns with passion and motivation. Air moves like thoughts and ideas. Earth provides stability, growth, and practical results. These elemental associations have appeared in various philosophical traditions for centuries and help explain why each suit carries its distinctive personality. Another important feature of the Minor Arcana is its flexibility. The cards rarely describe a single fixed event. Instead, they often highlight themes. A 5 may suggest challenge, but the nature of that challenge depends upon the suit. A 5 of Cups concerns emotional disappointment. A 5 of Wands may involve competition or disagreement. A 5 of Pentacles often relates to financial or material hardship. A 5 of Swords might point toward conflict or difficult communication. The number remains consistent. The suit changes the story. This elegant system is one of the reasons tarot has remained so enduring. It combines structure with flexibility, consistency with creativity, pattern with interpretation. As you become familiar with these relationships, you'll discover that the cards begin speaking a common symbolic language. Rather than memorizing isolated meanings, you'll understand how the pieces fit together. In the next chapter, we'll explore the first suit in depth, the Suit of Cups, and discover why these cards are often called the emotional heart of the tarot deck. Part 2, the Suit of Cups, the language of the heart. If the Minor Arcana were divided into 4 kingdoms, the Suit of Cups would be the realm of emotion. These cards explore love, friendship, compassion, intuition, imagination, relationships, and the rich inner world that shapes how we experience life. Whenever several cup cards appear in a reading, they often suggest that emotions are playing a significant role in the situation. Logic may still matter. Practical concerns may still exist. But the heart is likely to have the strongest voice. Traditionally, cups are associated with the element of water. Like water itself, emotions can be calm or turbulent. They may flow freely or become blocked. A quiet lake reflects the world with clarity. A stormy sea becomes difficult to navigate. This symbolism appears repeatedly throughout the tarot. Many cup cards feature rivers, oceans, fountains, rain, or overflowing vessels, reminding us that emotions are constantly moving and changing. Let's begin with the Ace of Cups. The ace represents new beginnings. In this suit, those beginnings are emotional. A new friendship. A new romance. A renewed sense of compassion. Creative inspiration. Spiritual fulfillment. Or simply opening one's heart to new possibilities. The overflowing cup often symbolizes abundance and emotional openness. The Two of Cups is one of the most beloved relationship cards in the tarot. It commonly represents partnership, mutual respect, trust, and balanced connection. Although often associated with romance, it may also describe friendships, business partnerships, or any relationship built upon cooperation. The Three of Cups celebrates joy, gatherings, friendship, community, shared success. It reminds us that life is meant to include moments of celebration with those we care about. The Four of Cups introduces a quieter mood. Rather than focusing outward, it often represents contemplation, emotional withdrawal, or failing to recognize opportunities because our attention is fixed elsewhere. Sometimes the card asks us to notice what is already being offered. The Five of Cups is frequently associated with disappointment or grief. A figure often mourns spilled cups while remaining unaware that two upright cups still stand nearby. The message is not to ignore loss. Rather, it encourages us to acknowledge sorrow while remembering that hope has not completely disappeared. The Six of Cups carries a gentle sense of nostalgia. Childhood memories, kindness, generosity, family, old friendships, or reconnecting with simpler joys. Many readers view it as one of the most comforting cards in the deck. The Seven of Cups introduces imagination and possibility. Multiple cups filled with different objects suggest dreams, choices, fantasies, or perhaps confusion. Not every attractive opportunity is what it first appears to be. The card encourages careful discernment before making important decisions. The Eight of Cups represents walking away. This is not necessarily an act of failure. Instead, it often symbolizes leaving behind situations that no longer provide emotional fulfillment. Sometimes growth requires the courage to seek something more meaningful. The Nine of Cups is often called the wish card. It represents satisfaction, gratitude, emotional contentment, and appreciating what has already been achieved. Rather than endless ambition, it celebrates recognizing life's blessings. Finally, the Ten of Cups represents emotional fulfillment at its fullest. Harmony, family, love, community, peace. It often appears in readings involving lasting happiness and healthy relationships. Many readers consider it one of the most positive cards in the tarot. The Court Cards of Cups. The Court cards bring personality into the suit. The Page of Cups represents curiosity, creativity, emotional openness, and unexpected inspiration. Pages often encourage us to approach life with fresh eyes. The Knight of Cups is the dreamer. Romantic, idealistic, imaginative. He often follows the heart wherever it leads, sometimes without fully considering practical realities. The Queen of Cups embodies compassion, empathy, intuition, and emotional wisdom. She listens deeply, trusts her instincts, and understands feelings without becoming overwhelmed by them. The King of Cups combines emotional maturity with stability. He remains calm during difficult situations while offering wisdom, patience, and understanding. He reminds us that emotional strength is not about suppressing feelings but managing them wisely. The Lesson of the Cups. Taken together, the Suit of Cups teaches one essential truth. Emotions are not weaknesses. They are valuable sources of information. Love, compassion, joy, grief, hope, disappointment, forgiveness. Every feeling has something to teach us. The cups remind us to listen not only to our thoughts but also to our hearts. In many ways, emotional intelligence is just as important as intellectual knowledge. Understanding our feelings and respecting the feelings of others is often the foundation of healthy relationships and meaningful decisions. In the next chapter, we'll leave the flowing waters of the cups behind and enter the fiery world of the wands, where passion, ambition, creativity, and personal growth take center stage. Part 3: The Suit of Wands, Passion, Creativity, and Action. If the Suit of Cups speaks to the heart, the Suit of Wands speaks to the spirit of action. These cards are filled with movement, ambition, enthusiasm, creativity, adventure, and personal growth. They encourage us to pursue ideas, take initiative, and transform inspiration into reality. Traditionally, wands are associated with the element of fire. Fire provides warmth, light, and energy. It fuels creativity and ambition. But like any powerful force, it must be managed wisely. A small flame can illuminate a room. An uncontrolled fire can quickly become destructive. The Suit of Wands reflects both the excitement and the responsibility that come with pursuing our goals. Whenever several wand cards appear together in a reading, they often suggest that life is moving quickly. New opportunities may be emerging. Projects may be gaining momentum. Energy is building. The challenge is deciding where to direct it. Let's begin with the Ace of Wands. Like all aces, it represents a beginning. Here, it is the spark of inspiration. A new business idea. A creative project. A fresh adventure. The excitement that comes from realizing something new is possible. The ace encourages action before enthusiasm fades. The Two of Wands represents planning. The first spark has arrived. Now comes the question. Where do I go from here? This card often appears when considering future possibilities, travel, expansion, or choosing between different paths. The Three of Wands suggests progress. Plans begin moving forward. Opportunities expand. Effort starts producing visible results. Patience remains important, but confidence grows as the horizon widens. The Four of Wands is one of celebration. It commonly represents milestones, stability, community, weddings, family gatherings, and shared success. After hard work comes a well-earned opportunity to appreciate how far you've come. The Five of Wands introduces competition. Not necessarily hostility, but differing opinions, healthy rivalry, or multiple people striving towards similar goals. Sometimes disagreement encourages growth by forcing us to sharpen our skills. The Six of Wands represents recognition. Success. Achievement. Public appreciation. This card often appears after determination has finally been rewarded. The victory, however, is usually the result of preparation rather than luck. The Seven of Wands reminds us that success often brings new challenges. Having reached a strong position, we may need to defend our ideas, protect our achievements, or remain committed despite criticism. Perseverance becomes the lesson. The Eight of Wands is one of the fastest-moving cards in the tarot. Communication accelerates. News arrives. Travel occurs. Projects gain momentum. Events unfold more rapidly than expected. The card often encourages staying flexible and ready to respond. The Nine of Wands represents resilience. After facing repeated obstacles, a person may feel tired yet unwilling to give up. The card acknowledges exhaustion while reminding us that persistence often brings success. Finally, the Ten of Wands explores responsibility. Achievement sometimes brings increased obligations. A successful business grows larger. Leadership requires greater effort. Ambition can become overwhelming if every burden is carried alone. The Ten reminds us that strength also includes knowing when to seek support. The Court cards of Wands. The Court cards bring personality to the suit. The Page of Wands represents curiosity, excitement, creativity, and the courage to explore new opportunities. Pages remind us that every expert was once a beginner. The Knight of Wands is energetic, adventurous, and bold. He acts quickly, embraces challenges, and enjoys new experiences. His enthusiasm is inspiring, although he may occasionally rush ahead without considering every consequence. The Queen of Wands radiates confidence, warmth, determination, and creativity. She inspires others through enthusiasm rather than force and demonstrates quiet self-assurance. The King of Wands represents visionary leadership. He combines experience with ambition, seeing possibilities where others see obstacles. Rather than simply dreaming, he knows how to turn ideas into reality. The lesson of the Wands. The Suit of Wands teaches that inspiration alone is not enough. Ideas become meaningful only when they are followed by action. Dreams require effort. Creativity requires discipline. Success requires perseverance. Fire can ignite remarkable achievements, but only when it is guided with purpose. The Wands encourage us to embrace opportunity, pursue meaningful goals, and believe in our ability to create positive change. They remind us that growth often begins with a single courageous decision to take the first step. In the next chapter, we'll enter the realm of the swords, where truth, communication, intellect, and difficult decisions challenge us to think clearly and act with honesty. Part 4, the Suit of Swords, Truth, Thought, and Communication. If the cups represent emotions and the wands represent action, the Suit of Swords represents the mind. These cards explore thought, communication, knowledge, decision-making, truth, justice, and conflict. They remind us that our greatest strengths, and sometimes our greatest challenges, often begin with the way we think. The Suit of Swords is traditionally connected with the element of air. Like the wind, thoughts cannot be seen, yet they have tremendous power. A single conversation can change a life. An idea can inspire a movement. A misunderstanding can damage a relationship. Words have the ability to heal or to hurt. The swords remind us to use them wisely. Because several sword cards deal with difficult situations, beginners sometimes assume this is the negative suit of the tarot. In reality, the swords simply represent life's intellectual and communicative challenges. Every person faces difficult decisions. Every relationship experiences misunderstandings. Every life includes moments when uncomfortable truths must be confronted. The Suit of Swords encourages clarity rather than avoidance. Let's begin with the Ace of Swords. The ace represents a breakthrough. A moment of clarity. A new idea. A fresh understanding. It often appears when confusion begins to lift and the truth becomes easier to recognize. The Two of Swords portrays indecision. Two paths. Two opinions. Or conflicting emotions. Sometimes the card suggests that more information is needed before making an important choice. The Three of Swords is perhaps one of the most recognizable cards in the tarot. A heart pierced by three swords. While often associated with heartbreak, it more broadly symbolizes emotional pain, disappointment, separation, or difficult truths that cannot be ignored. Although uncomfortable, honesty often becomes the first step toward healing. The Four of Swords encourages rest. After conflict or stress, the mind needs time to recover. The card reminds us that reflection is not laziness. Sometimes stepping back allows us to move forward with greater wisdom. The Five of Swords explores conflict. Arguments. Competition. Winning at another person's expense. It asks an important question. Is victory worthwhile if it damages relationships or personal integrity? The Six of Swords offers hope. It often represents moving away from difficulty toward calmer circumstances. The journey may not be easy, but progress is being made. Many readers interpret this card as one of healing and transition. The Seven of Swords is one of the most debated cards in the tarot. It may represent strategy, secrecy, careful planning, or acting independently. Depending on the surrounding cards, it can also warn against dishonesty or encourage thinking creatively rather than following the crowd. Context is especially important here. The Eight of Swords often reflects feeling trapped. Interestingly, the barriers shown in many tarot decks are not always impossible to escape. The card frequently reminds us that limiting beliefs or fear can become mental prisons of our own making. The Nine of Swords speaks to anxiety. Sleepless nights. Worry. Regret. Fear of the unknown. It encourages recognizing that our minds sometimes magnify problems beyond their actual size. The Ten of Swords appears dramatic. A fallen figure beneath 10 swords. Yet despite its appearance, the card also contains a sunrise in the distance. Its message is one of completion. A difficult chapter has ended. Pain has reached its limit. Recovery can now begin. The Court Cards of Swords. The Page of Swords is curious, observant, and eager to learn. Pages ask questions, gather information, and encourage intellectual growth. The Knight of Swords acts quickly. He is ambitious, determined, and fearless in pursuing the truth. However, his speed can sometimes lead to impulsive decisions if careful thought is neglected. The Queen of Swords embodies honesty, independence, wisdom, and clear communication. She values truth above comfort and encourages thoughtful, fair decision-making. The King of Swords represents intellectual mastery. He combines knowledge with discipline, logic with fairness, and authority with responsibility. He reminds us that sound judgment comes from balancing reason with experience. The Lesson of the Swords. The Suit of Swords teaches that truth is not always comfortable, but it is often necessary. Clear thinking helps us solve problems. Honest communication strengthens relationships. Wisdom grows when we are willing to examine difficult situations rather than avoiding them. The swords ask us to think carefully, speak honestly, and make decisions based on understanding rather than fear. Although these cards sometimes represent life's most challenging moments, they also remind us that clarity often arrives after confusion, and wisdom is frequently born through experience. In the next chapter, we'll explore the final suit of the Minor Arcana, the Pentacles, where the focus shifts from thoughts and emotions to the practical realities of work, health, money, home, and building a secure future. Part 5, the Suit of Pentacles, Building the Material World. The final suit of the Minor Arcana brings us firmly into the physical world. While the cups explore emotions, the wands inspire action, and the swords challenge the mind, the pentacles focus on the practical side of life. These cards deal with work, finances, education, health, home, security, possessions, long-term planning, and the rewards of steady effort. Traditionally, pentacles are associated with the element of earth. Earth represents stability, patience, growth, and abundance. A farmer cannot rush a harvest. A tree takes years to mature. A strong foundation is built one careful step at a time. The Suit of Pentacles reflects these same principles. Success is often achieved through consistency rather than sudden inspiration. Whenever several pentacle cards appear together in a reading, they often suggest that practical matters deserve attention. Questions about employment, business, education, investments, family responsibilities, or physical well-being may be taking center stage. Let's begin with the Ace of Pentacles. Like every ace, it represents a beginning. In this suit, it often symbolizes a new job, financial opportunity, business venture, educational path, or investment. It reminds us that opportunities are valuable only if we are willing to act upon them. The Two of Pentacles represents balance. Managing responsibilities. Juggling priorities. Balancing work and family. Income and expenses. Health and commitments. Life rarely stays perfectly still, and this card encourages flexibility. The Three of Pentacles celebrates skill and teamwork. It reminds us that meaningful achievements often result from cooperation and shared expertise. Whether building a business, completing a project, or learning a trade, success usually involves working well with others. The Four of Pentacles introduces security. Saving resources. Protecting what has been earned. Maintaining stability. However, the card also asks whether holding on too tightly may prevent growth or generosity. The Five of Pentacles is often associated with financial hardship or feelings of exclusion. Yet many traditional images show help nearby if one is willing to seek it. The card reminds us that difficult circumstances are rarely permanent and that support often exists even when it seems hidden. The Six of Pentacles represents generosity and fairness. Giving. Receiving. Sharing resources. Helping others. It highlights the importance of balance between generosity and responsibility. The Seven of Pentacles teaches patience. After planting seeds, growth takes time. Whether developing a business, learning a skill, or improving health, lasting progress rarely happens overnight. The card encourages evaluating long-term goals rather than seeking immediate rewards. The Eight of Pentacles is the card of craftsmanship. A person carefully works on one pentacle after another, improving through repetition and dedication. It reminds us that mastery comes from practice. Talent may open the door, but consistent effort builds excellence. The Nine of Pentacles represents independence, comfort, and enjoying the rewards of hard work. It celebrates self-sufficiency, confidence, and appreciating what has been built over time. Finally, the Ten of Pentacles symbolizes lasting success. Family. Legacy. Financial stability. Tradition. Long-term security. Rather than focusing on temporary achievement, this card asks what kind of future we are creating for ourselves and those who come after us. The Court Cards of Pentacles. The Page of Pentacles is eager to learn. Curious. Practical. Hardworking. He often represents new educational opportunities, career beginnings, or developing valuable skills. The Knight of Pentacles is dependable and patient. Unlike the fast-moving Knight of Wands, this knight progresses carefully, one steady step at a time. His strength lies in reliability and persistence. The Queen of Pentacles embodies generosity, practicality, warmth, and resourcefulness. She creates comfortable, supportive environments and balances compassion with common sense. The King of Pentacles represents wisdom gained through experience. He is disciplined, responsible, financially aware, and focused on long-term success rather than quick rewards. He reminds us that true prosperity is built through integrity, patience, and thoughtful planning. The lesson of the Pentacles. The Suit of Pentacles teaches that dreams become reality through consistent action. Ideas are important. Emotions matter. Clear thinking is essential. But lasting success often depends upon practical effort. Building healthy relationships. Managing resources wisely. Learning valuable skills. Caring for our physical well-being. Creating stable foundations. These are the quiet achievements that support every other aspect of life. Together, the Pentacles complete the 4 suits of the Minor Arcana. Each suit contributes something essential. The Cups teach us to feel. The Wands teach us to act. The Swords teach us to think. The Pentacles teach us to build. In the next chapter, we'll bring everything together by exploring how the 4 suits interact during a reading and how understanding their relationships allows the entire Minor Arcana to become one complete symbolic language. Part 6, Bringing the Minor Arcana Together. Now that we've explored the 4 suits individually, it's time to see how they work together. This is where the Minor Arcana truly comes alive. A single card can tell an interesting story. Several cards working together create a conversation. The art of tarot lies in understanding how the suits interact, complement one another, and sometimes even create tension. Think of the 4 suits as 4 different voices, each offering its own perspective on the same situation. The Cups ask, "How do you feel?" The Wands ask, "What inspires you to act?" The Swords ask, "What is the truth?" The Pentacles ask, "What practical steps can you take?" Every situation in life contains elements of all 4. Imagine someone considering a new career. The Cups explore whether the work feels emotionally fulfilling. The Wands reveal excitement, ambition, and creative potential. The Swords examine the facts, contracts, communication, and difficult decisions involved. The Pentacles focus on salary, stability, education, and long-term financial security. No single suit tells the entire story. Together, they provide a more complete picture. Recognizing balance. One of the first things experienced tarot readers notice is balance. Suppose a reading contains mostly cup cards. Emotions are likely playing a major role. The person may need to pay attention to relationships, intuition, or emotional well-being. A reading filled with wands suggests movement. Projects. Opportunities. Travel. Creativity. Energy. Many sword cards often indicate important decisions, communication, learning, or conflict that requires careful thought. A spread dominated by pentacles usually highlights practical matters involving work, finances, home, or physical health. Sometimes a reading contains almost no cards from one particular suit. That absence can also be meaningful. Very few cups may suggest someone is ignoring emotional needs. A lack of wands might indicate low motivation or hesitation. Few swords may suggest avoiding important conversations. Very few pentacles could point toward neglecting practical responsibilities. The missing suit sometimes tells as much of the story as the cards that appear. Looking for patterns. Tarot readers also look for repeating numbers. Several fours may emphasize stability. Multiple fives often suggest change or challenge. Numerous tens may indicate that one chapter of life is ending while another is preparing to begin. Court cards deserve special attention as well. If several court cards appear together, the reading may involve important people or different personality traits influencing the situation. For example, a Queen of Cups and a King of Pentacles together may describe compassion balanced by practical wisdom. A Knight of Wands beside a Knight of Swords might suggest enthusiasm moving faster than careful planning. The relationships between the cards often become more important than any single card alone. Context is everything. Perhaps the most valuable lesson for any tarot reader is that context changes meaning. Consider the Ace of Cups. In a relationship reading, it may suggest new emotional beginnings. In a creative reading, it could represent artistic inspiration. In a personal development reading, it might encourage self-compassion and emotional healing. The card itself remains the same. The surrounding question gives it direction. The same principle applies throughout the deck. No card has only one meaning. Instead, each offers a range of possibilities shaped by the question, the neighboring cards, and the circumstances of the person receiving the reading. Learning through practice. Many beginners worry that they must memorize every possible interpretation. Experienced readers usually recommend a different approach. Practice. Observe. Reflect. Keep a journal. Study one card each day. Notice recurring themes. Pay attention to how the cards relate to real-life experiences. Over time, the meanings become less like memorized definitions and more like familiar conversations. You'll begin recognizing patterns almost instinctively. Not because the cards have changed, but because your understanding has grown. The Minor Arcana as a complete story. When viewed together, the Minor Arcana becomes much more than 56 individual cards. It becomes a symbolic map of everyday life. The cups remind us to care for our emotions. The wands encourage us to pursue our passions. The swords challenge us to think clearly and communicate honestly. The pentacles teach us to build stable, meaningful lives through patience and practical effort. Every day, we experience all four. We feel. We act. We think. We build. That is why the Minor Arcana appears so frequently during tarot readings. It reflects the ordinary moments that gradually become the extraordinary story of our lives. In the final chapter, we'll bring everything together, exploring how mastering the Minor Arcana deepens every tarot reading and why these 56 everyday cards are, in many ways, the true heart of the tarot deck. Conclusion: the everyday wisdom of the Minor Arcana. When people first begin studying tarot, the Major Arcana often captures their imagination. The dramatic artwork. The unforgettable names. The powerful symbolism. These cards represent life's great milestones, moments of transformation that shape who we become. Yet, as you've discovered throughout this guide, it is the Minor Arcana that accompanies us through the ordinary moments between those milestones. And it is within those ordinary moments that life is truly lived. Every conversation. Every decision. Every friendship. Every challenge. Every success. Every lesson learned through experience. The Minor Arcana reminds us that our lives are not defined by a handful of extraordinary events alone. They are shaped by the countless choices we make each day. By understanding the four suits, you've learned to recognize the different energies that influence our lives. The cups teach us the importance of compassion, intuition, relationships, and emotional honesty. They remind us that feelings deserve to be acknowledged rather than ignored. The wands encourage courage, creativity, enthusiasm, and action. They inspire us to turn dreams into reality through determination and purposeful effort. The swords invite us to seek truth, communicate clearly, and face difficult situations with wisdom rather than fear. They remind us that clarity often begins with honest thinking. The pentacles ground us in the practical world. They emphasize patience, responsibility, craftsmanship, financial stability, and building a secure foundation for the future. Together, these four suits form a complete picture of human experience. Every day we think. We feel. We act. We build. Every tarot reading reflects some combination of these fundamental aspects of life. Perhaps one of the greatest strengths of the Minor Arcana is its accessibility. The cards speak about experiences that everyone understands. Learning something new. Working toward a goal. Navigating relationships. Making difficult decisions. Recovering from setbacks. Celebrating achievements. The symbols may be centuries old, but the experiences they describe remain remarkably familiar. As you continue your tarot journey, remember that mastery does not come from memorizing every keyword. It comes from understanding patterns. Observing relationships between the cards. Studying the artwork. Practicing regularly. And allowing your own experience to deepen your understanding over time. A tarot journal can be one of your greatest teachers. Record the cards you draw. Write down your first impressions. Notice how the meanings unfold in real life. With every reading, you'll begin to recognize recurring themes, subtle connections, and layers of symbolism that once seemed invisible. You'll also discover that the same card can tell different stories depending on the question being asked. That flexibility is not a weakness. It is one of tarot's greatest strengths. Like a work of literature or a piece of music, the cards continue revealing new insights each time we return to them. Whether you approach tarot as a spiritual practice, a creative exercise, a psychological tool for self-reflection, or simply an appreciation of its rich artistic tradition, the Minor Arcana offers a practical guide to understanding the rhythms of everyday life. It reminds us that personal growth is rarely built through dramatic moments alone. More often, it develops through small choices made consistently over time. And perhaps that is the greatest lesson hidden within these 56 remarkable cards. The extraordinary is often found within the ordinary. Every conversation. Every challenge. Every opportunity. Every act of kindness. Every thoughtful decision. Together, they shape the story of our lives. The Minor Arcana simply gives us a symbolic language to better understand that story and, perhaps, to write the next chapter with greater wisdom, purpose, and intention.